Now let's try to understand the concept of the thread programming by implementing it. So I'm there in the IntelliJ IDEA. I'm creating a new Java class, and that this would be the main class, which is going to have the main method. So let me create a main method over here, public static void main. Okay, and let me check. There is some error. Okay, package org does not exist in the module. No problem. Let me remove it from here. Okay, and I'm deleting this package. Now here that what is going to happen that we have the main method in this class, and I can run this method. Okay, and here I can write a statement like that main started the execution, kind of. Okay, and I can run this application. Okay, yeah, that is you know very well. Okay, but guys, basically what happens over here that whenever we run the Java program, at that time internally we are starting one thread. So whenever you run application, there would be at least one thread, and that thread is known as what? Main thread. Okay, so here that obviously we are starting a process, that means we are executing a process, but every process would have at least one thread in it. Okay, so we have started the process. Okay, but we have started the process with main thread. Okay, so this is the thing that you should remember, that the whenever you start any process, whether it is a Java process or any other process, you are starting a process with at least one main thread. Okay, remember this thing. So here we have started a process with one thread. Okay, so here I can write that main thread has started. Okay, nothing wrong in that. Okay, now to create a thread, okay, in a Java, before that let's try to understand that why do we require a concept of the thread programming. Okay, so let me go back to our project structure, and there I'm creating a new class. Let's say the class name is thread demo. Okay, and here assume that we are having two functions, like let's say void function A and another function, that is void function B, and assume that these two functions are independent. Okay, what does it mean? That the result of the function A does not require by the function B, or the result of function B does not require by the function A. Okay, so these are the there is, that means that both functions are independent of each other. Okay, so suppose if I want to call this, or I want to run these two functions. Okay, let me just write system.out.println, that is function A is running and function B is running. And if I want to run these two functions from the main class, what I supposed to do? Just I require to create the object of thread demo like this. Thread demo, let's say t1 is equal to new, or let me give the name td is equal to new thread demo like this, and then I can call the method like td dot function a and td dot function b. Okay, and I can run this application. So I'm running this application, and you can see that both of the function would be executed in a sequential manner. That means that function A would be executed and function B would be executed. Now here, suppose if that I am writing this statement inside the for loop. So now both of the functions would run or would print the statement 20 times. Okay, let's try to run the application. And here you can see that both of the functions are running for the 20 time, like function A is running for the 20 times. Okay, and then the function B will start which will start its execution, and will print the string for the 20 times. This is what is happening. Now, suppose if these two functions are independent from each other, then what is the way to run these two functions parallelly? Okay, I want to find out a way to run the function parallelly. So that is where I require a concept called thread, right? So it is like something, the concurrency or the parallel execution that I want. Okay, so how can I implement the thread? So the first approach to create a thread is that I can use the class, the Java inbuilt class called thread. Let me show you the documentation of it. This is the documentation of the Java thread class. Here you can see that this is a class that you can extend to make your class as a thread like this. Here you can see. Okay, so this is what we are going to do. So I'm there in the program, and now here I'm going to extend the Java class. The Java class is what? Thread. Okay, now here my class becomes the special class. Okay, right? And now to call these particular methods, I have to do something else. Now I should not go like this. Still, if I will do this, then it will execute the, or it will call both of the function parallelly. Then that I don't want. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is that here I'm just putting these two call in the comment, and here I'm going to create a new class. Sorry, I'm going to create a new object of thread class, that is thread T, equal to new thread like this. And here I have to provide the argument of the class which I want to run as a thread. Okay, so here in our case that we want to run this thread demo as a thread. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I must have to pass the reference of the thread demo which we have created over here. So here I'm going to pass td, and then what I can do, I must have to call the method of the thread class that is known as the start method. So I'm doing that t dot start. Okay, here what is going to happen, the thread would be started. Okay, thread of which class? The thread demo class. Okay, now inside the thread demo class, whenever you implement the thread inside the thread class, you must have extended the thread class. Okay, so whenever you do this, you must have to implement one method which is known as the run method. Okay, so I'm just implementing that method, public void run. Okay, now inside this run I would call these two functions, like function a and function b. So both of the function would be executed. Okay, so let me call these two functions. Let's say function a followed by function b. Okay, right? And now here, whenever this t dot start would be called, then the run method would be called, and the run method would call the function a followed by function b. Let's try to see that what is going to happen. Let's run the application. I'm running the application. So here you can see that function B is finishing after function A. Still, we could not achieve the concurrency, right? Like that first function A is executing followed by function B. Okay. So why we are not achieving the concurrency, as I was telling you earlier? So the reason is that I have created only one thread, right? I have created only one thread, and that single thread is going to execute both of the functions. So obviously that thread is going to call these functions in a sequence, and that we don't want. What we want, that both of the functions should be called parallelly. So what I can do, I must have to call one more thread. Okay, let's say thread t2 is equal to new thread like this. Okay, and here the argument would be same, because that I want to make the thread of this on the same object. Okay, on the same object. If I will create one more object of the thread demo, then it is not going to work. Both would be considered separate thread. Okay, both would be considered as a separate thread. Okay, so that is not the good idea. So now the next step would be that for this thread also I have to call the same method, that is a t2 dot start. So what will happen, that both of the thread would call this run method. Now else, the both of the threads are going to call this run method. Then how many times the function A would be called and function B would be called? 2 times. Okay. So that means that these statements are going to be printed for 40 times. 40 times. Okay. Let's try to see that. I'm going to run the application. And here you can see that the application is running or printing this statement for 40 times. So here you can see that function A followed by function B, then function A again followed by function B. And again, we don't want this, right? What we want that this should be executed parallelly. Okay. So what I can do that here from the run method, I must have to differentiate that the thread T should execute the function A and thread T2 should execute the function B. Then and then we will get the parallelism, otherwise not. So what I can do that I can assign the names to the thread. So there are two different ways to assign the names to the thread. Okay. So here, let me assign the name of the thread like thread, let's say thread, I'm assigning just name A. Okay, and here I'm assigning the name B. Okay, so if you go to the constructor of the thread, let me show you. If you go to the constructor of the thread, where is the constructor? Yeah, here it is. The constructor of the thread says that the first argument would be the thread runnable argument. Okay, and here this is the runnable. Okay, I'm going to explain this runnable concept later on, but right now assume that this is the runnable, and the second argument is the name of the thread, and that is what we have specified. So these are the overloaded constructor of the thread class, and based on your need you can choose or you can use in your application. Okay, so here I'm differentiating these two threads with their name. So here that I can differentiate the both of the threads inside the run method. So in the run method, what I will do that I will use the if statement, and then I'm going to use the thread class static method. Which method? The method name is the current thread. So I'm using the thread dot current thread. What it will do? It will return the reference of the thread which is currently executing a run method, and then I will call a method called get name, so that I will get the idea that which thread is currently executing, and then I will compare it with the name sign like A. So if the thread A is currently executing run method, then it should call the function A. Else if the same thing I'm going to do for the thread B. So thread dot current thread dot get name dot equals B. Okay, then it should execute function B. Okay, now what will happen that the thread A will execute the function A and thread B will execute the function B. Okay, so here let me just write down or modify the message so that you will get idea that the function A is running by thread, and here we are going to assign the name of the thread like thread dot current thread dot get name. Okay, the same thing we are going to do for the function B. Okay, now let's run the application. And here you can see that we have some mixture like the function B is running by thread B followed by function A is running by thread A. Okay, so here you can see that sometimes the function B is getting executed, sometimes function A is getting executed, right? So you can see that we have both of the functions are running parallelly, and we have achieved that thing with the help of by implementing the thread class. That's it for this video.